number 6.
Okay.
And so today's lesson is on operations on functions. Now this is something, this chart, I don't know if you really need to write it down as long as you pay attention as we go through it. If you pay attention, you should be able to handle today's lesson, especially this part, with no problem. Basically what it's saying is that what you can do is you can add two functions together. That's what this first statement is saying. It's saying that you can add two functions together. You just add them. You add like terms. We kind of did some of that last chapter. Same thing here. Subtraction. You can subtract two functions. Notice the biggest thing here in this example is that they have to distribute that negative to both the negative x and the 5. Okay. Multiplication. You multiply two functions. You could multiply them by FOIL or you could just distribute depending on what you're given. They did that in that example there. And then division, you can divide two functions. Biggest thing there is right here, this statement right here. G of x cannot equal 0, because remember, you can never divide by 0. That's undefined. And so what we have to do is we have to actually, when we do division of functions, we have to attach something. And so in this case, notice I have 2x over negative x plus 5. Notice here I have to say x cannot equal 5, because if it would, denominator is 0. Okay, so you always have to put something there when you divide. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. It says, given f of x equals x squared minus 4 and g of x equals 2x plus 1, find each function. Indicate any restrictions in the domain. When it says indicate any restrictions in the domain, that just means when you have division. Remember, that was that x cannot equal 5 on that previous slide. And so what we're going to do here is it just says f plus g of x. What does that mean you're going to do with the f and the g? You're going to add them, right? Yep. So from the previous slide, that's what that means right there. So all I'm going to do then is I'm going to write down what f of x is. F of x is x squared minus 4. I'm going to add that to what g of x is. 2x plus 1. My next step is just going to be to add like terms, and that's it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with x squared. What will come next?
2x.
Plus 2x, what comes next? Minus 3. Very good, and that's it. There's no catch. That's all you're doing. Now for the minus, f of x minus g of x. Biggest thing we need to do is we need to remember to distribute the negative sign if we need to. So now I'm going to plug in f of x. F of x is x squared minus 4 minus g of x, which is 2x plus 1. What do you need to do? Distribute that negative to both here and here. So really it becomes a negative 2x and a negative 1. So your final answer will be x squared minus 2x, good, minus 5. Nice job. Questions? Pretty straightforward, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to do these fairly quick. F plus g of x and f minus g of x. Okay? So first one will be f plus g of x. Next one will be f minus g of x. that's the one I was looking for. Okay, so the first one, f plus g of x. X squared plus how many x? 8. Yep. And then what?
Minus 4.
Minus 4. Very good. Okay, pretty straightforward. What about the minus?
2x minus 4 plus x squared.
X squared plus 2x. Okay, what happens is your 2's should drop off. Okay, so just x squared plus 2x, and then your 2's end up canceling out. Because you have x squared plus 5x minus 2, and you subtract the quantity 3x minus 2. So what ends up happening is you distribute that negative here and here. All right, so composition of functions. Results of one function are used to evaluate a second function. My upper level kids call this fog and goth. Okay, for those of you that can't figure fog out, look at how it's actually written and you might see where the fog comes from. Results of one function are used to evaluate a second function. So what we use is we use that open circle. That's just an open circle. So you do f with that open circle, g of x. And what that means is that means f of g of x. Now, if you would have that written as the following. G of f of x. What that would mean is you're going to start with the g, and then I'm going to put parentheses. What's going to be inside the parentheses? F of x. Yep. So basically that's it. Okay, the open circle basically symbolizes a set of parentheses. All right, so we're going to look at a few of those. For each pair of functions, find f of g of x and g of f of x. Okay? For each pair of functions, find f of g of x and g of f of x.
Got it.
You got it?
No.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to break this down. Okay, so f of g of x means f of g of x. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with the first value in g, which in this case is 8. So f of g of 8. Okay. So now, order of operations always states you do the parentheses first. So I'm going to do the parentheses here. Okay. G of 8. G of 8 is nothing more what this one is, 15. So really I'm looking at f of 15.
So g of 8 and f of 15 are the same thing?
Well, they're in the same ordered pair. This just means g of 8, so that means 8 is your x, 15 is your y. Okay? And then so now I've got f of 15. What do you think f of 15 is? We'll see how you do on this one.
5.
8.
1.
7.
13.
Okay, where's the f? The f is in the top row, right?
11. It's 11.
Yeah. Here's 15, right? What is 15 paired with? 11. Okay, there's another way to do this. There's another way to do this. Okay, that is the long written out way. There's another way. This is how I do. I start at 8, right? And then I go to what number? 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the f function and I'm going to find 15. Do you see where 15 is?
Yep.
Where does it go?
11.
11. That's your answer. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Here's 5. Where does 5 go to? 1. Go up to the f of x
8.
function. 1 goes to 8. So what's your answer? 8.
Much easier.
I got a question.
Yes.
What if you have if you have a 5 and a 1? What if you have 2 ones up in
You won't.
the end?
Okay. What is the next one going to be?
10,
Yep, 10 goes to where?
14, 9.
14 goes to 9. And then what's your very last one going to be? You do that for and the very last one will be 13. So there are your 4 answers for f of g of x. Those are your 4 answers for f of g of x. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears and we're going to go to g of f of x. So that basically means you're going to start with the f of x function up here. Okay? So we're going to start with the f of x function.
These problems sound like they take a
Well, let's see. F of x, I'm going to start here with the 1. Where does it go? The 8. Your answer is 8 goes to 15. So your answer is 15 first of all. All right, let's go to the next one. What's the next one going to be?
while.
There's no 13, so we don't have one for that.
Where is this gonna
Okay,
go?
so that one you're going to answer undefined.
Oh, it's not hard.
Okay.
Well, there's always a catch.
Well, why is that one undefined?
There's no 13. What about the next one? What do we get?
5.
15 goes to 11. And there's no 11, so that one will also be undefined. What's the last one going to be? Yep. 14 goes to 9. 9 goes to 0. So that one will be 0. Okay, so it's just kind of like a little puzzle. You go from place to place. Okay. And that's it.
Oh.
Okay, but
Oh,
when you don't have ordered pairs, there is a way to do that, and that's what we're going to look at now. Okay. Our whole goal will be to find f of g of x and g of f of x. Oh, let's try writing that again. Okay, so if you remember, what we defined f of g of x to be is that was f of g of x, right? Now, as we kind of did on the problem before, we focused in on the parentheses. Okay. So what is g of x? 4a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4a in the parentheses right here. I'm going to put 4a in the parentheses right there. And you actually did this on the last test. If I give you f of 4a,
Let me plug it into
you plug it into a right here. So I really have 2 times 4a minus 5.
It's the f of x and there's no x's in there.
Well, I know, I typed that in wrong. It probably should have been f of a. So anyway, what do you get
So you
now?
plug that in for your-
A.
Yep,
8A minus 5.
8a minus 5. There you go. All right, you try the other one for me. Real quick, let's see how you do. G of f of x.
You know, come on, young kids.
So very first step is to replace f of x. Okay, so I know I really have g of 2a minus 5. Now what I'm going to do with the 2a minus 5 is I'm going to plug it right in here for a. So I end up having 4 times 2a minus 5, which when I distribute the 4, I get 8a minus 20. Okay? So, you got to distribute that 4 to each.
Why don't you put the, oh, you don't put the A in there because that's with the O.
Yep. Okay, so we have two more we're going to look at. This is another one. Same thing. Okay, this is another one except for with a square. So we've got two more problems real quick and we'll be done for today. So the first one we're going to find is f of g of x. Very first step is to Yep. replace g of x with x minus 6. Now this one gets a little interesting. Okay, because when I plug x minus 6 right up here, I got to square it. Now on the test, some of you wrote that that's x squared plus 36. Okay, got one problem. When I square something, I take it times itself. Okay, so now what you need to do is FOIL that out. Okay, it's not x squared plus 36. And like I said, I was really pleased because for the most part, you guys did really well. There were a few glitches, but for the most part, you did really well on that. Okay, so that's the important thing. Whenever you see that quantity square, and that's something to keep in mind for the ACT because they'll try and trick you up with some things like that as well. Okay, whenever they put that squared, it means that times itself. So your answer should be x squared. Yep. Plus 38. I want you to try the next one. You try for me g of f of x. G of f of x. Yep, you try it. G of f of x. This one's actually going to be a little easier than the one we just got done doing.
That's it.
Yep, good job. Yeah. Let me see. No. Okay, and then you write So you end up having g of x squared plus 2. So in place of x, you're now going to put x squared plus 2.
Oh.
So according to this, you're going to have x squared plus 2 minus 6. What does that give me? Oops. What does that give me? X squared minus 4.
4. Yeah.
There you go. All right, we're going to end with the story problem. Oops. We're going to end with the story problem. Okay. Seance to Go offers both an in-store $35 rebate and a 15% discount on a digital audio player that normally sells for $300. Which provides the better price? Taking the discount before the rebate or taking the discount after the rebate? So we're going to start. We're going to take the discount before the rebate. So I've got $300, right? What would 15% off be? What's 15% off? $45. So I'm going to subtract $45. This is the 15% off. Okay, come on, women, you're letting me down here.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the 15% off, right?
Yes.
So then now what do I do? Take that minus 35, and you get 220. So that's taking the 15% first and then applying the rebate. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the rebate first. So I'm going to subtract my $35. And what do you get? Yep, $265. Now let's take our 15% off of that. What's 15% off of that?
159 over 4.
39.75. What do you get? 2 what? 225.25. Now let's think about that. So which provides the better price? By taking the discount before the rebate. So this is it. You want to take the discount before the rebate. Now, let's think about why that makes better sense, or why that makes sense. When you have 15% off a bigger amount, okay, yeah, you get more off, because notice here I'm taking 15% of 300 versus taking 15% of 265. So obviously you're going to get a better deal by taking it off of the higher amount. Okay, so anyway, here's your assignment for tomorrow. 389 through 390, 8 through 16 the evens, 28 through 36 the evens, and 41 through 46 all. Now, real quick, I want to go to 41 because I have a feeling if I let you go on that one, you'll probably not be very happy. Okay, so on 41, the answer says f of g of negative 2. This is 41. And they tell you that f of x equals 5x, and g of x equals negative 2x plus 1. Okay, this is kind of like what we did with the ordered pairs. Order of operations states you're going to do parentheses, so I'm going to do g of negative 2. Okay. So what I'm going to do is plug negative 2 in here for x. So really I get negative 2 times negative 2 plus 1. What does that equal? 5. So now I'm really going to do f of 5. What are you going to take that 5? You're going to go up here, you're going to put it in here. Yep, so you're going to take 5 times 5, so your answer is 25. Okay, that's what you're going to do on 41 through 46. Okay?